it down in practice, and then I still had it wrong. Agyeman.
He is not afraid to stand up to anybody. I mean, this man has confidence that I'm just like, where does all that confidence come from? I just can't believe I hadn't seen this actor himself in something like this before. Like, I know he's married, but like, I really want him and fucking Helen to like, let's get together. I was like, no hate on Georgia, but like, I want Max and Helen together. Like, yelling at the TV when that stupid woman came at Iggy. Oh man.
I was like, excuse you.
I know, like, who the hell do you think you are?
You just popped up.
You haven't been around.
Yeah, like,
What was the purpose of putting in this here? Got it.
Hey.
Hi. Welcome to our channel. I'm Jess.
And I'm Minnie.
And together we are the Wolf Sisters. We're here to give you our insights on the best and worst in entertainment, and sometimes just to make you laugh.
We review the most watched and popular TV shows and movies, so let's get started.
Today we're reviewing Season 1 of New Amsterdam, found on Peacock.
This show is a medical drama. It is based on a book called 12 Patients, Life and Death at Bellevue Hospital. It was written by Eric Mannheimer.
It's multicultural, bilingual, addresses real life issues. What I feel like sets it apart from other medical dramas is the way that it portrays humanity in such a beautiful way. So let's get into it. Starting with the cast, we have Max Goodwin, who is played by Ryan Eggold. We have Lauren Bloom, played by Janet Montgomery. Helen Sharp, played by Freema.
Agyeman.
I wrote it down in practice, and then I still had it wrong. Agyeman.
There is also Iggy Frome, who is played by Tyler Labine. Vijay Kapoor, who is played by Anupam Kher. And Floyd Reynolds, who is played by Jocko. So now let's get into
Best and worst.
best and worst moments. Favorite moments. Let's start with your favorite characters. Who are your favorite characters?
Favorite characters. Iggy Frome is my favorite character, and Max Goodwin. Max Goodwin is the head of the hospital, right? He's the main guy. He comes in and he's there to make a difference and change things however they need to be changed. He does remind me of a young George Clooney from the movie One Fine Day, when he kind of, the way he tilts his head and the things he does with his mouth, like just flashback, you know, if that just, you know, tells you my age or anything. I really believe in what he believes in. Like, he believes in it so strongly that I'm right there with him, and I'm like, yes, let's make a difference. Let's do something different. Let's find the cracks in the system and do what we can. And he is not afraid to stand up to anybody. I mean, this man has confidence that I'm just like, where does all that confidence come from? Right? And he's got that young kid quality about him where he is impulsive, you know, and you're always wondering like what impulsive decision is really going to be his undoing. But it always works out. He's smart. He's educated. He knows what why he's making these decisions. And Iggy Frome, oh man, I just love him so much. He is the sweetest, kindest man. I just can't believe I hadn't seen this actor himself in something like this before, because I was just so instantly in love with him and the way he takes on any problem, the way he takes things on, and you can see that he really then goes and sits with the feelings and sits with the emotions and works on his own mental health to make sure that he's not taking all this stuff home so that he can be the best husband and the best father. And he's a really good role model character, and I really looked up to him, and the way he was portrayed and the way he addresses mental health really spoke to me. What about you? Who were your favorite characters?
So my number one was Iggy Frome.
Wow, we actually like the same character.
Yeah. For a lot of the same reasons that you noted. Just, he makes you feel good about wanting to get better, or like wanting to
Be better
and be cautious and very mindful of your own mental health and to use the tools. And he talks about it like, I'm giving you tools, and these tools can be used anywhere you go. It really resonated with me because I do feel very strongly about mental health and taking care of yourself in that way. So I really liked his character. My second favorite character is Helen Sharp. I just liked her journey through the show, where in the beginning she was more PR related and she just did all of the public speaking on the hospital itself, and Max gets her to come back to actually be a doctor again, and she is an oncologist, so she's handling cancer patients. And coming back in, you just watch her go through it, and she distances herself more and more from doing the public relations and is doing more for her cancer patients. And she talks about how she missed it. She missed being this doctor and making a difference with patients instead of talking about cancer all the time on TV. And
it was Max who made her finally realize like how much she misses being passionate about her patients.
Yes. So those are my top two. What were your top two favorite moments of the show?
Top two. Okay. Max and Dr. Sharp go to this woman's house. Who is she diabetic, I think? Or she's a long-term diabetic and she was having issues.
Something.
But it was during a blackout, during a storm, so there was no medical assistance and she needed help, so they took it upon themselves to travel to her. Well, in fact, Max said he was going to travel to her, even though he's been on treatment for cancer and everything. Well, while they're there, this woman says that she's like a medium, she's psychic. She can see the future. She knew that she was going to die that day. And there's a moment where she's talking to Max and she's like, there's someone important in your life and you're going to lose her. And I was like, oh, I've been waiting for this. Like, I know he's married, but like, I really want him and freaking Helen to like
That's
get
how
together.
I felt. I was like, no hate on Georgia, but like, I want Max and Helen together.
Mm-hmm. Like, I just, and that was like our moment where I was like, oh, they're like foreshadowing
about it.
They're going to talk about it. Like, they're going to admit that there's some connection there. And his reaction, he knew, like, he was finally admitting to himself, like, I mean, I think, was it the time too when he told her he loved her? Oh yeah. It was.
He said, I love my doctor.
He's like, I love my doctor. But he said it in such a way that I was like, oh, you love her. Like, you love her and she loves you. That was a favorite moment. My other favorite moment was, let's see, the entire storyline, let's say, with Iggy, Frome, and Gemma that started in the episode 1 and ended at the end of the season. His introduction with her and all of her struggles. You can see her using all these tools that he provides for her. And even though she's struggling emotionally and she's writing everything down in her journal, she's having such a hard time figuring life out at her young age. And he's trying to help her through by finding her forever home. And he goes through all the motions. He puts in all the work. And even when she continues to have breakdowns and freak out, he's just like, everything is okay. There's nothing wrong with you. This is normal to feel this way. He just continues to validate her and be there for her. And when she finally gets that forever home and she finally feels secure in that home, that moment when he is sitting with her on the stairs and she's basically trying to break up with him.
Yeah.
I love that moment so much, and it just made me bawl my eyes out because she's just trying to tell him, I don't need you anymore. I don't want to see you anymore because the more I see you, the more I remember like all the hard stuff I went through and I just want to move forward with my life. And he finally realizing like, I can't help you anymore. Like, I've helped you enough and you are okay now. Like, you can handle life without me. And it was really hard for him to like cut that tie because they had become so close. And I really think it just shined a light so much on psych and their line of work. This is what they do for people all day, and how hard that must be to really cut those ties when you really feel for your patients. Like, oh, that was one of my favorite moments. What about you? What were your 2 top favorite moments?
Mine really weren't around the characters. So I really liked episode 7 as a whole. I thought it was very creative, and I don't really know much about like real medical world, that I didn't know if this is actually a thing that they do.
Domino effect?
Yeah, but the domino surgeries, how each person had to have something from another person that was part of the family of the person that needed the surgery. Like, the way that how complicated and intricate that was fascinated me.
It was a really touching episode though too.
Right, it was, especially with the dad and how he was willing to go do this for the chain. And so he was willing to give something of his, and I can't remember exactly what, so I apologize, but he was willing to give something of his to complete the chain because someone else had dropped out and didn't want to do it anymore. And he was first willing to do it because he thought that his daughter was going to be able to get something out of it. Then they came back and said, oh, she can't get anything because we have to do this surgery before we could do this one. And the dad was I'm still willing to do it. This is, I'm fine with that. And then all these other people came forward, and they were part of those families of the others that needed surgery, and they were willing to give him something in return for his daughter. And it was just one of those moments that was like, wow, this is good. Like,
people can do good stuff. Like
this shows a really good side of humanity. And so that was the whole episode in and of itself was my favorite. And then the other one is, I really liked episode 22, which is actually the last episode. But that one, there's just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, that you're just kind of sitting there like, what's going to happen? So
right.
That, to me, the rest of the show, there were no real episodes that had me on the edge of my seat of, is that patient going to die? Are they going to live? Is the main character okay? Or whatever. But this last episode was like, I was sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time. And up until the 22nd episode, I didn't care to watch season 2. But because of the cliffhanger of the last episode, that was what got me interested in watching season 2. But yeah, those were my favorite moments. Now let's get into worst characters, worst moments. So let's start with, what are your worst characters, the ones that you hate? Well, hate might be not the word, but you just didn't like them as much.
Okay, characters I just didn't really care for. Dr. Bloom, like, I didn't care for her most of it, and then when she finally, like, kind of went to rehab and then started going that direction, I just was like, I really don't like her. Not because of the drug part, but just her character. And then at the end, I was like, oh, yes, go tell Max you're quitting and you're walking away. Like, I don't care. Just go. And then she ends up saving their lives and everything. And I'm like, oh, great. She's not actually leaving. No offense to the actress herself. She did a good job. I think that was how she was intended to play that character. The character herself, I did not like. What about you?
Okay, so number 1, also Lauren Bloom.
Really? Wow, we actually agree on this stuff on this show.
Yeah, she was annoying. Like,
God.
So in the very beginning, it was like, oh, okay, cool, she's a good doctor, blah, blah, blah.
Right, she's good on her feet. She's, like, really good at decision making.
But the minute that I saw that bottle and she was popping them, like, in secret, I was like, wait a minute, what you doing? And then the nurse, I'm assuming he's like a nurse of some kind, the one that works in the ED with her.
Yeah.
And he's like, I took one of your Tylenols or ibuprofen or whatever. And she's like, that wasn't ibuprofen. So that was when I was like, yep, I knew something else was in that bottle.
Yeah.
That was the moment that it was, as I watched her more, I understood the character, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all.
Me either.
And the other person that I didn't like was Reynolds.
I almost said him as my second, but he started to grow on me about halfway through.
He got better at the end, but the first half, because of everything that he was doing and how he was like, you're not the person who I've envisioned as my someone, I was getting frustrated. I was like, dude, you're being, like, that's rude.
Yeah,
She has genuine feelings for you, and when I think about my future, I'm not with a white woman. I was like, whoa,
basically,
why?
Like, you're good for now, but that's it.
You're good to have sex with as a, one night stand and a booty call, but you're not good enough to be my wife in the future, etc. So he put a bad taste in my mouth from the beginning, but yes, he did get better later down the line, but
thank God he did.
Not better to where I like him. Better than what he was previously.
Really? He didn't redeem himself when he proposed?
No.
Because I thought for sure after what his mom said about his new girlfriend, can't remember her name. Evie. I thought that for sure after his mom talked her down, was like, she may be black, but she's not good enough. Like, she's still not going to be what you're looking for and doesn't fit into your little perfect frame. I was like, shit, please tell me he's not going to make the same mistake twice.
Right.
And then sure enough, he goes out and he starts talking, and I did not expect that he was actually going to propose and actually be like...
But that's the thing for me, is it doesn't show that their relationship is that good. Like, you don't get to see that. They seem to me like a very early on dating couple, and so the fact that he takes her to family dinner, okay, that's the first time they're meeting, whatever.
Really? I felt like it developed nicely. Even it was in I felt like
I
the
didn't
moments
get
that
to
they
see-
did have together, they were connecting and it was intimate.
Right, they were connecting, but still as a
You
very
still felt it was too quick.
like first 6 months of the relationship when they're still able to learn new things about each other. But my thing about the whole what his mother said, she was being honest. You don't get to have a wife that stays home and takes care of kids and cooks and cleans and does everything in the home.
Okay, I see. It
When
was his
you're-
character flaw that was that he was so focused on the
Yes.
image that he was trying to create
Yes.
that was he really asking her to marry him, or was he just asking her to marry him because she fit enough of the boxes on his list?
Yes. Okay, maybe you don't fill all 10, but you're filling 5 of them, so I'm gonna just.
And I'm just in a hurry because I really just need to fulfill this image.
Yeah, because I feel like later down the line, it's gonna be you quit your job being a lawyer and come and stay in the house and let's have kids and
Yes,
you get to take
yes,
care of them.
okay. He's
So,
just got that. Yeah, I can
I
see what you mean.
I
Patriarch.
still,
He has that patriarch view of things. Like,
yeah, and so I still am not. I'm not sold on him. What were the worst moments?
worst moment ever of the entire series, or excuse me, season,
Mhm.
was when that stupid woman, okay, I have to say stupid because that's how it made me feel when I watched it happen. I just was like yelling at the TV when that stupid woman came at Iggy, freaking telling him that he was crossing the line and she was filing a report against him. I was so angry with her. I mean, it took me longer than Iggy to realize that she may be right, that she has a point, that I can see why she feels justified in what she's doing. And she was like, whoa, like you are getting too invested in your patients. So after you saw how it played out and how it was like, there are these rules there for a reason, you know, and then, oh my God, it was just the worst. It was the worst. Even worse when they sat down and were asking Iggy questions like, have you ever touched any of your clients, you know? And I was like, you guys better shut up. Like, stop asking him questions.
I felt the same way.
I was so mad.
I was like, excuse you.
I know, like, who the hell do you think you are?
You just popped up. You haven't been around.
Yeah, like, get away from him. And that was the worst. It was just the worst for me. The other worst part of the whole season was any attempt to get frickin' Dr. Reynolds and Dr. Bloom together. I didn't even like their friendship.
No.
Like, I didn't like their friendship. I didn't like their interactions. They were the worst for me.
Yeah.
What about you? Worst moments.
Worst moments. So, again, not really related to the main characters. Episode 6 was all about a fundraiser, and I thought that it was just boring. Like,
Really?
Like, I like where he was being a doctor instead of being a schmoozy, give me all your money kind of guy. Like, that was the only part of that episode that I liked.
Oh.
But I just found that, like, they put an entire episode to a fundraiser. Well, I just felt like, what was the purpose of putting in this here?
Got it.
Because, but then the other episode was episode 12. Bloom tells Helen about her pill problem.
Oh, yes.
And so episode 12 is Helen being super protective and super, like, checking on Bloom, making sure she's okay, making sure everything's cool, and Bloom just being outright, a liar.
Yes.
Being a liar the whole episode, I'm fine. And then Helen goes through her bag and she flips out and she's like, how dare you? And then they have to work together all day and whatever, but at the end of that episode, Helen ends up telling on Bloom to Max.
Yes. Which I'm so glad she did, because I wondered how long that was just going to sit in limbo.
And I was glad that she did too. So, but the episode itself, because it was so circling around Bloom, I think that's why I didn't like it, because I didn't like Bloom.
Yeah.
I didn't like her character, so I was like, why are we having a whole episode about her? I don't care. Let's move on. Let's go.
Right?
Like, you could have shortened it and said, okay, here you are, you're caught. Now you're being let go.
Even the times that she was in rehab, that they kept zoning in, waiting for her to talk. I'm like, do we have to wait for her to talk? She doesn't want to talk. She's not going to talk. She just wants to sit there and pretend that she's going through rehab. So can we just cut to somebody else, please?
Yeah, and that's how I felt when it was on her scenes too.
Stop.
So yeah, but that's mine. So let's now get into the ratings. So with the ratings, my rating for the season 1 overall was a 3 out of 5 stars.
Mine was a 3 out of 5 stars too. I do want to watch season 2 and season 3. I think that's how many seasons there are so far.
I think so.
So for those of you who are continuing to watch, you know, let us know about season 2 and 3. Like, should we do season 2 for our next
Yeah. Should we watch?
review? Should we continue watching and see how these things play out? I mean, it's 3 out of 5 is good for me.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, it's not the worst, so we'll definitely. I mean, I would be willing to watch the next season if that was requested by
For sure.
by our viewers. So
Yep.
we would recommend that you watch it and see what your thoughts are, and definitely comment below when you've watched it and let us know who your favorite characters were or least favorite, or if you agree with us on some of the points that we've talked about.
Yeah, or if you think our worst moments are your favorite moments. I mean,
Yeah.
if you just totally disagree with us, we love to hear that as well. So
Yep.
we thank you guys so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, again, please like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.
Let us know if you have any movies or TV shows other than New Amsterdam that you'd like us to review, and we look forward to reading your comments and hearing about how you feel about us.
Have a great summer, guys. Keep shining, folks.
Bye.